Hi, I'm so glad to see you. I am so excited to tell you about this book that I just read. And hold on, you have to get a cup of tea because this video deserves that you sit down with me and have a cup of tea and listen to what I have to say about this book. Go grab some tea now and we will talk in 2 seconds. Now that you have some tea, we can get on with the reviewing of this book. So this is My Past is a Foreign Country by Zeba Talkani, and I am so excited to tell you that this book was a 4.5-star read for me.
Just let me get down to talking about what it's all about. Zeba is talking about identity. She is talking about her life growing up in Saudi Arabia and how she was constantly in this patriarchal system that dictated certain ways of life that were to be followed by all women, including herself and her mom, even though they are actually Indian Muslims, and her hometown is Sirsi, Honnavar. Every year she would go in the summer to Sirsi and visit her family and her relatives, her cousins. So there's this, whole idea of identity being shaped during all those visits. And then she also studies in school in Saudi Arabia. As she grows up, she has problems with her hair because her hair starts to fall off, and that's called alopecia. So she has to struggle with alopecia throughout her growing up years, and that affects her self-esteem, becomes a challenge for her. So learning how to resist what society feels about her losing hair and how to, sort of find her own voice amidst everything that's going on, and her difficult relationship with her mom, which was far from easy. She's the daughter of strict parents, but at the same time is born to a lot of privilege. She decides to take things into her own hands, and when the opportunity for higher studies comes about, she tells her parents that she would like to move to Manipal, India, where she would like to do her bachelor's. And that is the first taste of freedom that Zeba has. In Saudi Arabia, it was so difficult, she couldn't even step out unescorted. There were instances throughout her life where she went through harassment, a couple of instances. And she instead chose to, rewrite her own story and find things that she would be happy about. She created her own path, basically, and that is amazing. After going to Manipal, she is exposed to a lot of ideas, and we get to see how that shapes her identity and how learning, really takes things to the next level for her. As she's doing her third year in Manipal, she goes to Germany as an exchange student. So there she again tastes a different kind of freedom when you're situated thousands of miles away from home and your family, and what that feels like. So I highly recommend reading this book if you are interested in learning about what student life is like abroad. It's a very honest and unbiased account of her experiences being exposed to different cultures and having to face the dissonance where people don't understand what you're trying to say. And she also talks about her identity being embraced by her. So as she goes to different countries, learns different things, and tries out different things, it shapes her identity, and ultimately she feels she's a feminist and she needs to speak out and make her voice be heard. So she doesn't do what's expected of her, she rebels, but with good reason. There's a lot of intertextuality in this book, lots of philosophers, lots of texts, things like gender theory, all the things that literature students might have read. She talks about how those ideas shaped her understanding of the world around her and the people that she encountered. So it's very, very interesting in that sense. It's basically a story of coming of age, about how she dares to try her hand entering the publishing industry in the United Kingdom, and we only can understand how difficult it is for a person of color. She talks about the struggle, but at the same time, it's very inspiring. Her determination, her ambition, all of that comes across very clearly, and it's very inspiring. She comes to terms with her alopecia, and it is just very moving. The account where she even makes peace with her relationship with her parents, and even though there's a generation gap, she learns how to work with that. There are a lot of traumatic instances here about her trying to cope with her hair loss at a younger age, and ultimately it is a worthwhile read. It's very empowering, it's well written and accessible. I think there's a plane flying outside. Right, so I highly recommend reading this if you are curious to learn about identity and becoming. You love coming of age stories, you like memoirs, and if you like reading about people being inspired when they are exposed to different cultures and ways of life and things like that. It's a really, really nice short read, but has so much packed into it. This is what I read recently, and I really, really enjoyed it. Oh no! In the process of me telling you about this book, it looks like my tea's gotten cold. So this could only mean that I have to go and get a refill. And so you'll have to excuse me. So please let me know in the comments what you've been reading. I'd love to hear from you. And give this video a thumbs up and also share it if you like, and subscribe. Too many things. Sorry, just subscribe. Forget about everything else. This Bulletin, Suguja signing off.